You're listening to Taboo Transmission, unfiltered conversations on grief, awakening, and shadow work. I'm your host, Holly Faye. I don't have the answers, but I've lived the questions. Every episode, I share raw stories, unspoken truths, and the messy middle of rebuilding a life that actually fits. This isn't performative healing, it's transmission. Let's get into it. Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Taboo Transmission Podcast. I'm your host, Holly Faye. We have quite the different setup today. If you're watching on YouTube, then you can see that. Since the first two episodes, I recorded on my phone, audio only. And yeah, it was a long time ago now. So the first two episodes were recorded in July. And here it is, November 5th. It's actually the night of the Taurus full moon. That's relevant, but I'm just saying it. It just is. But yeah, so this is actually my second time recording this episode. I attempted it last week, and after recording it, I thought about it, and I just could not go forward with publishing that episode because it wasn't like that my face was just stupid or I said or but or like a bunch of times, because if that was the case, I would have just let it go and done it anyway and maybe tried to take out a couple butts if there's too many. But it wasn't that. It was that I was still tiptoeing around my message. I was still too afraid to actually own what was true for me. And where, you know, part of the title of this episode is why I was afraid to offend. So I guess we can just get right into that. I was afraid to be misunderstood, especially by the people I know, because even just like a week ago, and I don't even know if this is a result of the podcast coming out or if this just happened anyway, but I realized that like I was getting like unsolicited DMs of YouTube videos that were about like being spiritually attacked by demons or having the devil whispering in your ear. And yeah, so it definitely made me think about how those messages were coming from someone I do actually know. And so I know that they're coming from like a place of care. Maybe the delivery needs some work. I was then thinking if that's coming from the people who do love me and don't want to actually hurt my feelings, what's going to happen when it's strangers on the internet who have no obligations to my feelings whatsoever? But that's kind of true with anything, right? That could be anything that you do that goes against the norm, or just I mean, I know that my podcast is controversial, just the title alone. But I do want this to be a space where we can talk about it. And this is also me sharing my truth. And it doesn't mean like my truth doesn't mean it's the absolute truth, but this is how I experience things. And this is what I know to be true in my heart and my soul. So I guess stop beating around the bush and get into it. Okay. So I guess the topic we're exploring, was I spiritually awakened or spiritually attacked? I really don't believe I was spiritually attacked, but I can give you my reasons why, and I will. But yeah, I think in the first attempt at recording this, I was definitely too wishy-washy and like trying to I realized that I was like talking to my perceived imagined haters, because I don't actually even have any haters yet. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I should say yet, but yeah. I think if you do anything publicly on the internet, you're not gonna be for everybody. And I know that I'm not. So that's okay. But I am for for some people, and hopefully that's you. Anyway, I think I have to actually get into what happened the night of my spiritual awakening. That's pretty much what I'm attributing like that night to like when it began because like I said in the previous episode, like things happened that made me no longer question if there was life after death. And that doesn't have to be your reality if if you're still questioning, but it just was like something that was so in my face and I was afraid I was tiptoeing around it because of because of the things I thought people would think and partly them being the stuff that was sent to me in those videos. Um and yeah, so a long period actually where I kind of went back and forth between like believing like that it was absolutely what happened and then I don't know, give me some time alone and I will start to doubt every single thing that happened and convince myself that I am absolutely crazy. And that happened a lot. But now I'm in a different place. Finally. It took a long time to get here to actually be confident in where I stand on it. And like I'm not saying that my beliefs can't change or evolve. I'm sure they will. I think that's kind of partly the point of life is to grow and learn and experience things, and that shifts and changes you. It just does. But I'm no longer in a place of thinking that what happened didn't happen or that it was all like a delusion in my mind or the devil in my ear or demons inside of me. Not that I actually believed demons were inside of me, but anyway. So this was after I had admitted my feelings that night I had a spiritual experience. And I guess when I describe this, this is probably going to sound terrifying, but I wasn't scared at all. Like, not at all. So I went to bed early and I, like shortly after I crawled into my bed, felt, I felt his presence like in the room, but then also like hovering above me. And like, if you feel a presence hovering above you, that sounds, like, so scary. I would have freaked out. I would have freaked out so hard. But I didn't in that moment at all. Like, I knew like, I didn't question, like, whose presence. I didn't question, like, any of that. I knew what I was feeling was him, and also it was just the most euphoric feeling in my chest. It felt like It felt like he was literally pouring love into me. That's what it felt like. It felt like energy, like, right here, like, in the chest area. I get turns out it's the heart chakra. At the time, I had no idea about chakras. I didn't know anything about anything. It felt like pure, unconditional love. Like, it felt like this is what love without any limits and without any negativity or, like, just all those human emotions, jealousy, resentment, anger, all that stuff. It was like without that. It felt like just love. And it felt like a bunch of energy. Like what I think now is that I think my heart chakra was being opened, but I at the time didn't know about that. So it just felt like he was hovering above me, pouring love into me. And like I said before, like I knew in that moment that like all was forgiven. And it was the most crazy feeling because like, my heart was racing, but I was so calm. And and it was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. I'd never experienced that kind of feeling ever until that happened, and it felt like it couldn't be from this world. It really didn't, and then, like, the next morning when I woke up, like, I felt like that was a defining moment, like, everything changed. I didn't know how yet, like, I mean, like, not everything didn't look different, but I just felt different, and I did believe. I believed. I had faith, like, I believed in life after death, and I think the part that kinda took me back was that when I attempted to share this with people who were religious, there was a lot of backlash, and I was surprised, honestly, because, I mean, I've been told for, like, all of my life by Christians and people, family members, like, people I know that believe that miracles happen and that we have a soul and that God listens and hears us and sends us signs, and then and that, like, our loved ones are, like, with us. But then when you say it out loud, they're like, "Witch!" And that shocked me, honestly. I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa." Like, I thought you were gonna be happy because 'cause I'm on your side now, I believe now. But then it was a different reaction than what I was thinking it would be. So, yeah. Um, but the more I've thought about it and, like, granted that night with that, like, heart chakra opening moment, I think was that was literally the beginning. It was the beginning. I had no idea that there was a lot more to come after that. But part of the things that came after that was, like, I started hearing him talk to me. I started hearing him say things that I had not heard him say before. I think that was the difference that stood out to me the most at the time. Because, like, I've lost a lot of people. Like, most I've lost so many people. I don't even know how many, but, like, it's been a lot, and, like, my best friends have passed away, and, like, after someone would pass, like, I would, like, occasionally, like, hear things that they had said, like a memory in my mind or something, like, just hearing them say something that they had said, like, I'm just recalling a memory. But what was different was that it was things that were, like, new, like, relevant to, like, the day in that moment, like, things I had not heard him say before that I was then hearing. And I feel like there was just, like, a bunch of different, like, psychic abilities, like, there's, like, clairvoyant where you see things, and then, um, clairaudience is when you hear things, and, like, I feel like that one's tough, cause like, I literally felt like I was going insane, cause like, hearing voices in your head sounds crazy. But what kinda pulled me back into feeling like I needed to redo this and actually take a stand and not not sway so much into the whole idea of, like, maybe I am crazy, because honestly, like, everything that he told me happened. Everything that he told me and all the signs that I followed led me to exactly what he told me would happen. So I feel like for me, that's my evidence right there. And I am one for evidence. I am an investigator by day. So I will build a case. I have actually. Um but yeah, so So that's where I don't think, well, okay, let's unpack this a little bit further. So sure. Okay, I started hearing his voice in my head, and some people could say that it was an illusion, that it was the devil because that's how the devil operates. I don't that's just like what I've heard. I don't actually know how the devil operates. I don't even know if the devil really exists. I'm not sure yet. And I know that like that statement alone can ruffle some feathers, but truthfully, I'm just still exploring and forming my own opinions, and I just don't really feel like at this current point in time I do not fit into organized religion. And I'm not trying to like knock anybody that does. I think it's great if you do. But I just didn't really fit anywhere, but also it's a pretty big assumption that like when you say you're on a spiritual journey or anything with the word spiritual, I feel like in it people are like the devil, demons. I'm like, no, no, no. I don't know. But no, I really don't think so. So this is why. Because what changed in me that followed that event really, it bettered my life and it made me a better person. And I don't think, let's like, even if the devil does play the long game and dangles you a carrot, gives you a treat, would he make you become a better person? Would he make you take ownership for what you did wrong and own your mistakes and work to do better going forward? Because that's what happened for me. Um, I would have like a looping memory and it would get stuck. It would get stuck at a certain point and I couldn't figure it out for a while. I was like, why do I keep replaying this scene from this night over and over and over? Like just the worst parts of it. Like, why do I keep doing this? It's like, it's killing me. And then, like in the middle of like a an appointment, it hit me like, "Oh my god." Because it didn't end there and, I ended up realizing why I reacted in the way that I did and, what was really going on underneath all of it. So it's like the memories would loop and play until I realized what was actually going on there. And, maybe that's my own subconscious trying to work that out. I don't know. But that definitely happened a lot, and there were some that just I couldn't even, some of them I really needed some help. I I was there I had this, insanely vivid dream, um, that, disturbed me for a couple of days, and it, got to the point where I was, literally pacing my house, so much anxious energy that I didn't know what to do with. I didn't know what the dream meant. I didn't know why it was still bothering me so much. And then I'd hear him say something. And it would often just be this one profound sentence that would be like, "Oh, oh." And then insights, downloads. And then I'm realizing all these things, having so many epiphanies. And that just that happened. That happened every 3 days. Every or more. I don't know. There was a period of time where, in 2024 that, days felt like months, years. It felt like time felt like it was flying or it had been so long or and it'd just be a couple hours. I don't know if that's just grief making me insane. I'm not sure. It was just but it was I'd come to a realization, be like, and then like finally like making peace with it, I guess. And then I'd feel okay for a good bit until the next one would come, and then I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But that was so that needed to happen. That needed to happen. I didn't know all these ways that I had betrayed myself is what I was pretty much being shown. It was like every spot where I abandoned myself and like I had lost a piece of me or who I was, or like I just, rolled over and was like, nah, in the name of like keeping the peace and stability. I would just be like, I'll just stop doing this or not do that. I would avoid conflict at all costs. And the cost was to me over and over and over again. And that's literally what he was unpacking with me and through the dreams too. But I just don't think that I would have been taking accountability if it were by evil forces. And like since that happened, like my life has become more aligned, more honest, and more real. And I again don't think the devil makes you be more honest, and I don't think demons do either. And I don't know if I should say this actually. Eh, I'll nah. Anyway. Um, but yeah, so and I've had a lot of thoughts about religion, um, and beliefs and all of that. And it's something that I've been pondering for years. Even like before this ever happened, before he ever passed, before I ever had an experience, like I was still like just I couldn't stop thinking about it. And I couldn't stop thinking about like I don't know how in the Christian faith that I was exposed to or followed, it was like there's just like this one way, this one path, one way to heaven. That's it. And at first I was like, okay, sounds simple enough. Let me read this and yep, I will do it. Like a freaking checklist to do list. No. But but then I was thinking like what about other cultures and like what about the people who don't have internet or access or just are not exposed to like to these teachings? Like what about those people? Like I just don't feel like I don't think God would just kick them out of heaven because they didn't know. And I don't know. I just never really fit with organized religion. And like I went to Catholic school. Like I did give it a good fair shot. And I'm not saying I'll never come back to it. I don't really know. Again, my beliefs evolve the more that I learn and grow, and who knows where I'll end up. I'm My mind is open, honestly. But I know what that energy felt like. I know what I heard. I know who he was. And all of that was aligned. So that's my own, I guess, evidence for not being a spiritual attack. And I don't think that we should be so quick to judge each other on beliefs, especially with something so intimate as faith. I feel like, that's between you and God or whatever you call it. And I honestly used to be somebody who absolutely hated it when people would say that line right there. When people would say God or the universe or whatever you believe in, I would just be like, "Just say what you believe. Who cares?" But, like, it is different, I guess, on the other side of the mic, but still, I don't know what to call. I don't know what to call a higher power at this point, but I do believe that there is more. I do believe that we have a soul, and I do believe that currently, anyway, I do believe that we're here to learn and grow and love, and that maybe, like, that life itself is literally a school. And I just think that there is some kind of higher energy, higher power, maybe the ultimate creator. Because, I mean, creativity and connection, like, just feel like evidence of the divine or something more. We've been making poetry and art and music and things that speak to people that, like, really move you and, like, make you feel so much for centuries. And, like, I don't know. I just feel like that's gotta be for, like, a bigger purpose. But I don't know currently, and nobody really does. Nobody really knows for sure. You can know for yourself, and, like, that's where I'm coming from. It's like I know what I feel. I know what I believe to be true at this point in time, and there's it's okay if you disagree with me. It's okay if people think that I need saving or that they're praying for me, and I will not get offended. I will not get offended when people say that they're praying for me because that is from a place of love, and that's the other thing too, is, like, what I kind of realized because of, like, what I had been taught for so long, is that I guess there's no real way to say this without, like, offending, I guess, but I'm not trying to, but I just have found that the people who seem to be the loudest or push the hardest, at least to me anyway, have been of the Christian faith. And after, like, kind of realizing, like, it's because, I mean, they believe that there's only one way. Like, it and so I think the pushiness, like, I can look at it differently, like, because it's like they're afraid and they love me and they're afraid I'm not going with them. And, like, that I feel like I can have a lot of compassion for. I don't currently believe that, but I understand that some people do, and that's okay. Like, we can both believe what we believe. We will all find out one day. So, there is that. We do get to find out. Just, gotta wait a bit. I hope it's a good bit before I find out, but I don't know. I also kind of wonder, like, I don't even know if I believe that there is a hell, like an actual place. I'm kind of I almost kinda think, like, hell might just be a construct in my mind. Like, I mean, nobody has ever spoken to me or been as mean to me as I have been to me. So I feel like, I don't know, hell could be getting trapped in overthinking and self-doubt and all those negative, mean things that I say or do to myself. That kind of feels like hell to me. Um, but that's also why I shouldn't be so scared because nobody can say anything to me that I have not said to myself. Or and granted, I am I am trying very hard not to do that anymore, but it is a practice, and it's easier said than done, but I've run all of this through and through and through and through so many times. I've spiraled out so many times that it's like I I don't think anyone can really hurt me more than I've hurt me in that. Because in those moments where I was doubting everything, where I would just oscillate back into like, "Oh my gosh, I imagined everything and nothing was a real sign and he wasn't here and it was all in my mind and I'm crazy," like that place feels like hell. That was that was not good. I hated doing that. But now it's like I see the signs everywhere now. Like it's so often. And like even while I was thinking about how I kind of discredited my experience in the first attempt at recording this and then like the song playing on the radio in the car was literally like answering me. And that happens a lot. That's one of the ways that I get signs a lot. And I think I'm going to do an entire episode on recognizing and trusting the signs because it did take it took a lot of practice and a lot of I don't know, it didn't come easy. Granted, the initial sign might have come a little easy because it's not like I was trying to do any of this. I wasn't trying to have a spiritual experience. I didn't even know I could. I wasn't trying to like do anything psychic. I didn't know I could. I wasn't trying for any of this. I was just really sad. It was just really sad. And then I felt him give me a hug. And then I felt him open up my heart chakra. And then I heard him say things to me and help me unpack all of my shit. And every time I unpacked shit, granted, it was awful. It was awful doing it. Didn't feel good. But after it did, it felt a little like less heavy. And I'm grateful that that happened because like I would not be here doing this if that didn't happen. I really wouldn't. Like I would just I don't I don't even want to know where I would have been. And so yeah, I'm not gonna go and say that it didn't happen or start entertaining the idea that I'm crazy because I really don't believe I am. I just don't. I don't think so. Um and this podcast it's not really it's not me teaching. It's like I'm not like some spiritual authority. I just I have had experiences and I know that when they were happening, I wanted so desperately to connect or just not be alone in that, and I felt like I was. I felt like nobody had this happen, like and that's what also made it feel more crazy because it's just very isolating, and I felt like after I attempted to tell someone and it didn't go well, then I didn't. And I wasn't trying to talk to anybody about it, so and that's not healthy. So I don't know. I want this to be a space for exploration because I think there's a lot of us that don't know exactly where we fall. We believe that there's something more or would like to, but we don't know exactly what that is. And I think it's okay to ask questions out loud and to admit that you don't know and to explore. And if I'm dead wrong about that, sorry. I'll save you a spot in hell. Just kidding. But yeah, I think I think that's I had to record this episode because honestly, I launched my podcast in secret. I pretty much just didn't I launched it so quietly. Like I hardly marketed it at all. And it's because I was actually afraid to be seen. And like 2 days actually before I first published the first 2 episodes, I literally had like a panic attack. I was freaking out about like how much do I actually want to be seen? Maybe I don't want to tell this much. Like maybe I should make the podcast about like more like I don't know, just not my own story. Like maybe I should just interview people and like not tell my story because like because I was just so afraid of being judged. But I can't do that. Like I know that I need to do this. I literally feel it in my bones. Like I am supposed to do this because I don't know if there's somebody out there just sitting there in their own grief feeling like they're drowning in it, that they're never going to get out and like feeling signs and then doubting them and wondering if they happened. Like I'm here for that person because that was me. And that's a lonely place. And I don't want you to feel alone in that. So you don't have to agree with me and you don't have to understand. But if you're curious, if you ever wondered if your experience is real, you belong in this conversation. And this podcast is for the ones walking the blurry lines between belief and doubt, faith and fear, love and the unknown. And I think that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.